Microphone test. Welcome, everyone. What a great turnout for a second hour forum. Thank you for sticking around. Hopefully we will fix our sound issues, and I know that affects our ability online. It's still working online, so we will keep these on. And everyone who is speaking is just invited to project as much as possible. Thank you for being here. We're so excited to share a little bit about Partakers Prison Mentoring. So excited to have some special guests with us this morning as well. I'm going to turn things over to Liz Elliott to speak next and talk a little more.
So this works for online. Yeah. Got it. Okay. Yes, Thank you.
Round of applause for Liz.
So we're very excited to have Aaron and Supreme and Luis here today. They're part of you guys are part of our First Parish family now. And you are always welcome here. We want to see you again. We'll come get you, bring you here, whatever it has to happen. So I really am excited to have you guys here. This is like a dream come true. My parents are here because they've heard about Aaron for a year. So we started visiting a year ago, and Aaron was just released a month ago yesterday, right? And he already has a job offer. So these guys are going to speak and tell us a little bit. And I also really want to introduce Sally Chrisman, who is the one that got our whole parish motivated, organized, and into teams. And she's been doing this work for 20 years while she was raising 3 kids and had a full-time job. So we really bow to Sally Chrisman. So I'm going to turn it over to her. Also, I have a clipboard at the end with your name and email if you want to get involved and become a mentor.
Or even if you think you might, put your name down. You're not signing up for life. So I'm Sally Chrisman, and about 25 years ago at my church, Trinity Church in Copley Square, a big church, I'd been going to church for quite a long time, years. And I loved going to church. I loved the beauty of the church. I loved the sermons. We had a terrific preacher. And at some point, I said to myself, I really need to be more involved than just coming to church, taking, and writing a check every year. But how am I going to do that? I have a full-time job. I have 3 children and a husband, and I don't live in Boston. How am I going to do that? So in the bulletin one day, was a little notice that said, come and learn about College Behind Bars and mentoring students in the Boston University program. So I went to this informational meeting, kind of like the first one that we all had here together. And I learned that these men were in a Boston University rigorous college program out at Norfolk, MCI. And as a mentor, our job was to support them in their academic work. And we do that by committing ourselves or committing our team. We work in a team, and we visit once a month face-to-face, and we write a letter or a postcard or a card or something once a month. And I thought, and we decide when we can visit at our convenience. And I thought, gosh, I can do that. And so I signed up on the spot, was put on a team, and over a 20-plus year period, I mentored 4 different men who were students in the Boston University program. It was, without any question, the most meaningful volunteer work that I have done in my long volunteering life. It really changed my understanding of the social justice system, which, quite honestly, I wasn't very knowledgeable about. It changed my sense of how I could be part of a bigger, broader community. And these 4 men I mentored just meant the world to me. I was so proud of them, and they were working so hard, and they were so terrific. So anyway, I'm not mentoring at the moment, but I am working for Partakers, which is the organization that provides and supports mentors for now 3 college programs: Tufts, Emerson, and Boston College, which is the people from your community are mentoring people in the Boston College program at MCI Shirley. So anyway, we had lots of men who wanted mentors, and they submitted applications. And so I was looking for churches or groups that might form mentor teams, and I got in touch with my old friend and colleague, Kim Buell, and said, do you know anybody over at your church who might, anyway. So next thing we knew, Nate and I were having tea somewhere, and and you know what happened after that. Actually, I'm trying to think of the word to describe it. You were the total stars of our mentor program. And all it took was one introductory session and some good leadership on the part of Nate and Paula and other people in your parish. And lo and behold, 5 teams, 20 people, just amazing. So what we want now is to have even more of you. And we've got 7 men in the BC program who've submitted applications to have mentors. And I hope that we're working hard to provide those teams. Now, I want to just very quickly point out, and I want you to hop up, Rachel. Rachel Balian's here, and Rachel works for Partakers, and she's on the staff there with a particular interest in the mentor program and supporting it. So there's Rachel, who's here. Thank you for coming. Yeah. So one of the things that mentors do.
Can we ask you to, we have a new microphone.
Sure.
So we have to use 2 microphones because this is going to be for in-person audio. This is going to be for online
okay.
audio.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. All right. So here's let me see, where was I? We're looking for more mentors. That's really and I want to get a sense of who's here. How many of you are mentors? Wow, look at that. Okay, thank you. And how many of you know something about the College Behind Bar mentor programs? Okay, so, and some of you, not many of you, don't know much at all. But this is an introductory session. We're going to hear from a mentor, which will be you, Liz, right? We're going to hear from a mentor. And then we have 3 graduates of the program who we first met when they were taking courses at MCI Shirley and are released, and they are now students on the Boston College campus. Yeah. And I want to put in a little plug or some praise for Boston College. Right now.
A little closer to this one.
Oh, okay. Right. Okay, thanks. Right now, one of the teachers in the program there, BCPEP, is the provost of Boston College, and he's teaching a course on things urban. But in the visit reports that I get from those of you, there are occasionally comments about how wonderful it is, how much you appreciate the fact that this man who has a very high position at Boston College and lots of responsibility goes to the prison to teach once or twice a week. And this BC is so committed to this program. It's really very heartwarming. So we're going to ask you, Lou and Aaron and Supreme, I thought there were 3 things people would be interested in hearing about. I mean, there are plenty of things they'd be interested in hearing about. But 3 things would be, what's it like to study hard and go to college behind the walls, behind bars? What's it like? What did mentors mean to you? Because the 3 of you are here because you had mentors through Partakers. So what did mentors add or contribute to your journey, and now you're going to college on campus. What's that like? It's probably very different from going to going to college at Shirley. So those are 3 topics. And Liz, how are we going to divide the time here?
I thought we'd just do 10 minutes for each.
All right, all right. All right, and then I hope we'll have time for questions and answers. And we'll stick around, and we'll see how things unfold. Is there anything, for those of you who are here, is there anything you want to be sure we don't miss? Okay. All right. Okay. And so, and if you are interested, and you want to pursue it, and you have questions that happen after this, we have Nate and Paula and Liz and Dave and 16 other people who can help you. Okay. Have you 3 decided who's going to go when? Yes. Do you want to come up here with this? Oh. Okay, don't trip on the cord, Lou. Here you go.
Thank you. Good afternoon, I guess. Thank you. It's a lovely church. I appreciate the time that you guys allow me to come and speak. First, I'd like to say that those that are mentors, thank you from the bottom of my heart. For all the guys that cannot say it right now, that are still behind the wall, thank you. I appreciate you, everything that you do. This is my mentor right here, John. Joe, sorry. I have Joe, John, and his wife, Mila. So they, with their help, Dean's List at Boston College and Mount Wachusett. So when I started, I'm in 2 colleges behind the wall. So first, I like to speak about the stigma about being behind the wall. So if you're thinking about, oh, do I want to go see this person? What's he in there for? All this. Let me tell you, if they're in college and they're looking for a partaker, they're already on the road to rehabilitating themselves. They're changing their lives, and they do need that help. Some of us, like me, blockhead, I thought I could do it on my own. I got 2 colleges. I got all these courses. I have the finite probability class of math. I was like, what? I needed my partaker. You know what I'm saying? So, great help. Not only that the partakers show us behind the wall what humanity is like. A lot of us forget that. I've been incarcerated for 35 years, just released on October 16th. I'm in Boston College. I'm going to classes. Aaron just came out. He's in class with me and stuff. We're doing things online. We're in the BC PEP program, and we're starting off things, trying to help other people and stuff. And it's the contact and a lot of content. But none of it is possible without the help of the mentors. If you really want to help somebody, if you want to do your Christian duty, reach out. They need help. And I know there's the men's prison, but there's also Framingham, the women. I'm pretty sure some of the women do need help as well. But the education that we get and the help is unbelievable. I didn't know how to take notes. I didn't know how do I separate my time. And with talking with my mentors, Louis, break this down, go like this. And then that responsibility of not letting them down, not letting myself down, and then my family, I said, I got to do it. Hey, with their help again, I made Dean's List on 2 colleges and continuing. The relationship that we build is professional, but it continues. Because now I have a personal, lifelong friends with the mentors that I know if I need help with anything, I can reach out to them, and they're willing. They came and visit me all the time, helped me out, and we talked about the studies, philosophy. And then the great thing is that there's 2 things that make the perfect peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I'm the jelly, they're the peanut butter. You know? Yeah, because it goes like this. Because they experienced 35 years in prison. You cannot buy that anywhere. You can't get that experience from anywhere else. The experience they have, college, professional, what they're doing. He's a professor at the college. That experience, we don't know. And meeting together, it's incredible. He learns a lot about what prison is like, what my life is like, and what the stigma and what's not the stigma of prison, of what's helping out. They add value to my life, and I add value to their lives. And that's what the Partakers is a great help in, because it's a give and take relationship. And the best part is that when you get an A plus, well, they don't give A plus, but you just get an A in college. When you just get an A on the paper, you know what I'm saying? And the first person you want to share, like as a little kid, you think of your parents or stuff like that. The first thing is email my Partakers. This is what I got. You know what I'm saying? And they're happy for me. I'm excited. I get my syllabus. I send them a copy of my syllabus. These are the books that I got. This is what I'm doing. And they help me out right away. It's an incredible feeling to have somebody on the outside reaching out to somebody that's lost from community, society, and lending that hand and helping you. Not expecting anything, not knowing it. It was the first time them coming to prison, and I don't want to say it was enjoyable, but it was, you know what I'm saying? And we made it work. And I hope that if you're really considering and you're here today, please consider. There's a lot of men and a lot of women that need help. And some of them are blockheaded like me. They think they can do the work themselves, but when they take that finite probability class, they're going to find out no, which is true. If you have any questions, I'll be here. Thank you.
The women's prison is Framingham, and right now there is not a
Right.
college program at Framingham. So if you're interested in having a mentee who is a woman, you can't. Me too. Yeah, well, the population of women at Framingham is shrinking. That's good.
That's a good, right. I'm not that tall. How's everybody feeling? How is everyone feeling? The renowned social worker Brene Brown said in her book, Daring Greatly, human beings are hardwired for connection. When Louis spoke of connection earlier, that is the one word that I will center everything I will say this morning to this audience. Connection, connection, connection. Length, width, and depth of the connections between partakers and the men that they mentor. At the campus, we call it the BC's campus at MCI Shirley, right? Because that's how much you all make us feel when we come in contact and make a connection with human beings who can look at us and look into us and pour into us your humanity, you stricken our own. And from that stricken humanity, we leave those classrooms in BC and we take that into our housing units, into the chow hall, into the library. We pour humanity that was poured into us, and we make connections with other folks in the prison. Then they aspire to sign up for the Boston College Prison Education Program. My story is a little bit different, but connection is the thread. I never had a mentor. I don't know if I should be mad, but I'm glad. I first became aware of Partakers back in 2003 while at MCI Norfolk. A very close friend of mine, Wayne Grant, he talked about Partakers. And I was like, what is a partaker? And he raved about Partakers. He had a group of partakers that came into his life in 2003 that is still in his life today. Those partakers became my partakers through surrogacy. That's how much they were committed to this program. They paid it forward by continuing to befriend a friend of those who were in college. Connection. The other end of it, being at Boston College at Shirley as a first student in the program. I am part of cohort 1. There was a sign that went up in 2019. 163 people signed up for it. About 144 attended orientation inside of the chapel. About 80 went through the entrance exam, and 16 got chosen as part of this cohort. I was privileged and blessed to be one of those 16. I'm proud of being part of cohort 1, because we talked about that spirit of humanity that poured through, outside, inside, continued. When Boston College came to the prison, we said, because we were experiencing COVID, we had this abrupt disruption to our education. Then it wasn't virtual learning, it was however the professors could get us the materials, we did, and oftentimes it had to go through people who didn't want us to receive it in the first place. The correction officers in the mailroom, the correction officers in the housing units. We would have to just sit at our doors and hope, where's my envelope? Where's that envelope? Where's the envelope? Because we were so connected to doing the work. When I can open up a book and begin to explore the lives of great men and women through the annals of history, I'm like, wow, this is what it feels to be connected with a side that I disconnected from. Brene Brown, human beings are hardwired for connectivity. That connection first starts psycho-emotionally for me. I had to really return to who I was as a human being psychologically. Then I had to drill down emotionally and face my shame, get rid of my guilt in order for me to enjoy, to be happy, to love. And oftentimes that was found in a book. And each time I read a book, I would say, I want to go to college. I gave a promise to my mother that one day I would go to college, I would graduate from college. Today I'm a senior at Boston College. I have 23 credits left. Towards Sally's question, what is it like being on campus? Awesome. Last semester was my first semester on campus, and they threw this real big task at us. They says, why don't you guys create a student organization? We looked at each other, we smiled, and we said, we got this. We were connected to what we did behind the walls. We created the BC PEP Student Circle. It is a process that employs restorative justice practices, and those practices, again, connectivity. So when they put that task in front of us, it was our capstone project. We smiled, we winked at each other, we're like, we got this. So now we're creating a student organization at Boston College. And what could be more apropos than campus life than being a part of a student organization? That student organization is called Eagles Closing the Gap. Connection. We never left the guys behind that we shared those classrooms with. So when we talk about that connection, it's likened unto the umbilical cord of a mom and a child. It will never, ever be severed. Eagles Closing the Gap is our way of saying we as non-traditional students need to connect with the traditional students on campus. And together, we can create robust activity for the men that are coming behind us. We're all endeavoring to re-enter society that oftentimes is unforgiving, mercilessly unforgiving. The things that if we didn't have each other, I don't know if we'd do so well. If we didn't have this program, I know we wouldn't do so well. If we didn't have Partakers, connection. Our humanity is stricken and elevated and raised. So we're fearless, we're visionaries. We know there's nothing that we can't do, so we plan big. We think big. So a student organization, some of the things that we're endeavoring to do is build a robust reentry process. So when our colleagues come, that we can encase them in a circle of support and accountability, that we can be a mentor to them and show them campus life after the official orientation. Then we can show them what it is to be a student on Boston College. Just that last semester, I was taking a course at the law school, the entrepreneurs course at the law school, and one of our colleagues, he was like, man, I never thought that they would accept us like this. That is a big testament to everyone in this room. That is a testament to humanity. That is a testament to love. There is no love without connection. Brene Brown, human beings are hardwired for connections. Thank you.
I'm gonna have to talk to Liz after this because she made the order of how we were gonna speak, and I just realized that that order was probably not correct. So my name is Aaron. I've been home for 30 days. This was kind of like an honor to come here and to see my partakers and to meet all of you and really understand like how big this community is, where my partakers come from, right? And to really see, you know, what your congregation, your community is built on. And for me, it's wanting to come out and be on the other side of that. I've received on the inside a lot of help, a lot of support, and that humanity that all of us have spoken about. I didn't know about that maybe 5 years ago. You know, I didn't really fully understand, right, what it felt like to have a slice of humanity, to give a slice, to really be entrenched in it. And I guess you would say that a lot of our journeys in prison started off maybe similar to what you would see in a movie, right? As Louis spoke about earlier, the guys and the men that are already enrolled in college, we've already made the choice, right? The conscious decision to, this is how we want to lead our lives. We're leaving the other stuff behind. I think that's an important thing to take from some of the things that we speak about, because I remember when I went to that 160 person gathering that Supreme spoke about, I went to that gathering to sign up for BC, and I ended up quitting because I didn't think I could do it. The kid in me, the kid who had ADHD, the kid who didn't have a father, the kid who never had a mentor in his life, came right out of me and was like, I can't do this, I can't focus, this isn't for me. 5-year commitment scared the crap out of me. Excuse my language. But I eventually got there, and I got there from that connection that Supreme was speaking about, from the things that Louis was speaking about. You know, seeing these men do it and knowing that how I was connected to them gave me the courage and the confidence to push me towards education. Partakers was a further extension of that, to show the humanity and show the support that comes from being involved in situations like this. You know, being involved in Boston College, meeting Nancy and Liz and Dave and Ben, you know, sitting with them. Like, I remember going to that visiting room and thinking like, wow, these people are just coming to prison and coming to meet me. Like, why, you know? And sitting with them for a year and really, you know, telling them about my journey. Liz wants to know everything, you know, so you know, I make sure I tell her everything. She you know, the school stuff, the old stuff, the you know, she likes it all, which is good. But you know, it's just, you know, building the relationship with them and knowing that they're there to support me. It's just, it's that extra push that guys really need to know that, like, hey, you have people here that are supporting you. Prison can be really tough. There's a lot of guys that are sitting in desolation every day, and they're not anywhere near as refined. Or like these guys, I've been looking up to these guys for years. You know, these guys have double the time in prison and double the smarts, and these guys are great. If it wasn't for either one of these guys, I wouldn't be here today, because it was following their footsteps. And that's what we're doing here today too, is we're trying to pull the next guys up to where we are, but we're also trying to pull you guys to where our partakers are. So I think when I started off the same way Louis did in Mount Wachusett Community College. I did 2 years of community college, and I got the courage to enroll in Boston College. And through that, signed up for the Partakers program. And I noticed immediately the difference in the colleges, right? The community college, still a great school. You know, they offer business administration and accountant bookkeeping classes. But being involved in Boston College, the word humanity, right? And really what comes into that and the history behind it and how people are connected to each other and how, you know, we help each other the same way, you know, you guys get together is the same reason you would be getting into Partakers, right? To further that olive branch, to further your connection and doing that, you know, the humanity duty. It's helped me. I mean, I'm here today because of the program, right? Meeting with my Partakers for the first time out here, and I hope to, you know, somebody just asked me, I forget his name. He didn't have a name tag, and I said I was going to remember his name because he didn't have the name tag, and I can't remember it. Doug with no name tag. You know, he asked me what I wanted to do in 5 years, and I immediately started thinking of, I became a dog trainer in prison, and then I immediately started to think about, you know, like, wow, I'm hoping I'm in the position where I'm helping out the same way these people help me out. Like I said, I shouldn't have went last because Preem's a better speaker than I am. But with that, I'm going to close, and if anybody has any questions, maybe we said something that sparked new questions in you guys' idea in your mind, but I'll end with that, and we'll get on to the questions aspect of it. Thank you. Stay up here and do questions? You going to do it? You want to do it?
All right, go ahead. Questions? Nick, you want to say something?
I'll say a word. I'll say a word,
Yeah.
sure. Louis and Aaron and Supreme, thank you so much for your words. It is such an honor to have you here. And I can still remember getting an email from Kim Buell introducing me to Sally maybe a year and a half ago. And now we're here, right? And if anybody wonders, like, what's the point of a church in 2025? This is one incredible example of it. So, but we want to keep going. We want to keep going, right? And if you've heard something already that sparked your interest, please talk to Liz. Please talk to me afterwards. But I think we have 10 or 15 minutes for questions. If you want to learn more about what it's like to be a mentor, or just more about the experience of these men. Does anybody want to start us off? And Sarah, how are we going to do questions with the mics? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, why don't you just say it and I'll repeat it? Yeah, thank you.
I'm just wondering whether when you were paroled or when you left Shirley, whether you went to an interim place or whether you went directly out into the world.
So the question is, after they left Shirley, did they go to an interim place?
Like the Concord farm. Or did they go directly to
Yeah, and where are you now? Yeah, can you? Do you mind?
You can go first. Go
The
first.
question is, the answer is neither or, but both.
So I think all of our, I'm not as tall as this gentleman. I think all of our experiences are different. So for me, I didn't, they call it a step down process where, like you spoke of Concord Farm, that's a minimum security prison. When I got released, they released me right to a halfway house transitional home. So that's where I am right now. I'm in Fenway at that transitional house. And from there, you know, you gather your resources, you try to get a job, you network, try to find housing, and that's the place that I'm at right now. They can explain to you how their transitions might be a little different.
Yeah, mine basically was the same thing. It was a step down. I went from to the Boston pre-release. I stayed there for 4 months, and then I went to the CRJ, which is the housing where Aaron is at. I was there for 3 months, and then I finally went home. So that's how it worked. And through it all, Joe, his wife, and John came and visited me through the whole process. Took me out to lunch because his college, Simmons College, is right down the road from the transition house and stuff. So, again, this is life.
I did go to Concord Farm, and I served 33 years. I went in at 18, came home at 52. I served 33 years. I had to step down to Concord Farm for 9 months. I had enrolled in Tufts reentry program. And again, college was still pulling us towards freedom. They eliminated 2 months from the 9 months so I can get out on time for the first day of school. So that was incredible because there's nothing to do at the step down level but college. And this is when I'm listening to Sally and I'm thinking how privileged of a class we're in because of Emerson, Boston College, of course, the Tufts University. I was able to take 2 courses while at the farm, and that was the only kind of programming they had, so I had to create programs.
Can I just say that when Partakers is an in-prison program, so when these men are transferred from Shirley somewhere else, the relationship between Partakers and our students ends. Partakers mentors have special visiting rules. For one thing, these men could have 8 visitors on their friends and family list. Partakers are in addition. So you're not taking the place of a family member, for example. They give permission for visiting on a rolling basis. For friends and family, it's twice a year or 3 times a year? Can't remember, twice a year. So there are special privileges that Partakers mentors have that have been negotiated through the Department of Correction. But once they stop taking the courses or leave the prison or whatever, those privileges end. Now, various things happen. Sarah's question is a very good one. And everybody, I think, is aware that when you leave after, 30 years or whatever your number of years, lots of years, the world has changed. And it can be really, really tough. And mentors want to do what they can to support this very challenging and vulnerable kind of time. And there are various solutions. I won't go into them now. But some people one of the teams I know has been having a monthly Zoom for 11 years with their team. Some have no relationship at all because the men say, hey, I'm done with prison. I'm putting that behind me. And what I try to do, and Rachel will try to do, is when your student graduates, say, would you take another student? Because there are all these people waiting. And some people will be able to do it and some people won't. But you can still become a Partaker's mentor and keep in touch out on the outside.
And of our groups that are mentoring right now, I believe about half of them have already moved on to our second student. Yeah. And it takes a little while. It's frustrating. It takes a little while to get approved again and all that, but totally worth it. Totally worth it. Who else has a question? Barbara.
Yeah, do you want me to come up?
If you just say it, I'll try my best to repeat it back.
I've been part of a group that's worked with Jordan, who is very active in Toastmasters. And he's just now come out or been paroled, and he's hoping that Toastmasters will be a useful connection for him. And I'm wondering if any of the 3 of you were part of Toastmasters, if you anticipate it could be useful. Well, you're all such good speakers, I suspect you were. And then what you hope that would come of the Toastmaster experience.
So a question about the Toastmasters program. Yes.
So I so love that question for this reason. The last 3 weeks, I've been thinking about starting a Toastmasters club out in the community. And I love the question even more because you mentioned Jordan. When I first went to Shirley, I'm a program developer. I'm a trauma and care form facilitator. I'm a restorative justice subject matter expert. So when I went to Shirley, I started just building programs, getting programs up to snuff. I'm looking at the operations, examining them, and saying, all right, we have to do these things. And one of those programs was Toastmasters. Jordan was my vice president of education. So when she said that, it immediately connected. And the fact that the last 3 weeks, I've been thinking about starting a Toastmasters club out in the community. And I really have to say, once I realized Jordan was home, I said, now we can start building out a team. Yeah.
Yes, part of Toastmasters. It's great because one thing that we learn in there is our language behind the wall is different from the language of today out here in society. I cannot speak the way I spoke before to say on campus, because hey, what's that? But Toastmasters helps a great deal, and the majority of the guys behind the wall sign up for Toastmasters because it teaches them how to speak to the parole board when you go to the parole board. So Toastmasters is a great program that a lot of dudes do take just so they can speak well, they can make their point across.
Jordan is a great friend of mine. He did great with the Toastmasters, but as you guys can probably tell, I'm the one that didn't take the Toastmasters class. But Jordan is a great mind. He's a very good guy, and he's a great addition to our team now that he's home. So I'll end with that.
Andy.
I'm very impressed with the impact that the Partakers have had, but maybe I'm a little slow. I don't understand yet what the Partakers actually do.
What do the Partakers actually do? Yeah, Dave, we want to hear your voice in here. It's a great question.
I think that that was a question I think that we all had going in, and I think a lot of it really probably depends on who you are mentoring. I think Aaron's needs are going to be different from Louis' needs and Supreme's needs, and what they're, obviously Joe, who's a professor, was going to be really instrumental for Louis in terms of his getting his head around the academics. But with Liz and I and Nancy and Ben, when we met Aaron, I think the first 3 times we went to see him, it was really just getting to know one another. And I think I've told this story a few times, but when Ben forgot his ID and it was just Aaron and I alone, we talked about King Lear and Hamlet for a couple hours because Aaron was in the midst of Shakespeare, which he'd never really experienced before, and I had done a little of that in my time. So we had a lot of fun. So in that case, we actually really got to dig into it. And I think that I know Liz got the syllabus from Aaron, and she was reading the books, and she was really, I think it's being prepared to talk to them, Andy, about what they're going through, and I think you're going to take your cues from them. But I don't, I think in the case of Joe, who is a professor, I think Louis probably recognized, wow, there's a real ally here for me to get through my studies and figure, as you said, how to partition your time and how to plan. For me, I think with Aaron, it was we just talked a lot, and we just let him know that we're here for him, and we would email, and if he had questions about something specifically with respect to what he was studying, if we could answer it, we would certainly try. Yeah, the death and dying. Right, that's right. The death and dying idea. Right. So, I can't speak for all Partakers, and I certainly can't speak for what Supreme or Louis went through with their mentors. But I know for my experience, it was really, what do you need? And if we can provide it, then we want to provide it. And a lot of time it was just watching Aaron's dog crawl across the floor looking for this one Dorito that was about 6 feet away from him. And this guy, let me tell you something. The ability this man has to train animals is pretty astonishing. It's funny, when we first went the first time, we didn't know what Aaron looked like. We didn't know what to expect, and we're waiting for this guy to come in, and we look over and it's like, it's got to be the guy with the Labrador, right? But it's really a lot of, I was learning a lot from Aaron as well about, I'd never been inside a prison before. And just so you know, there's nothing it's weird. You know, you're really going into a prison and you're going through a metal detector, and they're going to make you, you know, check your clothes and check that you're not doing anything you shouldn't be doing. But once you get in there, it's just, you're just talking to somebody. You're just making a new friend. It's really, really pretty special. So it's a privilege. It was a privilege for me and I know I speak for Liz, to get to know Aaron. And through Aaron, Louis, and I've met Supreme at this great event at Boston College last year, where we heard from another guy, Christian, and hearing about their experiences. And it's all, I mean, this is just one of the most worthwhile things you'll do. So.
Yeah. I think our hope is to attract people's interest today, and then to offer a training where we get into some more specifics about what the actual commitment is. But it's about once a month is the hope that you would go and visit in person, and then be in touch by email more often than that. So very manageable in people's lives.
It's actually every other month because you go in pairs.
Thank you for reminding me.
6 times a year.
So it's even less than once a month. You have a team of 4 people usually, and so one group from your team's going once a month. So in practice, it's about 6 times a year. Yes. And so I want to see if there's any more questions for these gentlemen before, because I know you guys have been standing up for a little while. Christine? Yeah.
I would love to hear about your journey regarding your identity as a learner, because I know, Aaron, you said something about your earlier identity of who you thought you were as a learner, and maybe where you are now, and what that was like. I am a teacher, but a lot of what we talk about with kids is how they identify as learners, and the factors that play into that.
Oh, yeah. Identity as a learner and how that has changed over time.
So the first thing I would say about being an identity as a learner is that, you know, I think for a lot of our lives, using an I statement for my life, you know, I don't really know what my identity was, right? And wherever I fit in, that's what the identity was. And now I know I fit in here, and this feels right. It doesn't feel like I'm being fake. It doesn't feel like I'm making decisions that I don't want to do. These are all things, and they're all positive interactions. And I've learned that I can do the work, you know, and I am smart. And I think I just needed people like Partakers and people to believe in me a little bit and kind of just guide me in that direction, right? And Andy asked, like, what would you be doing? Like, what would I be doing? It's not a dumb question at all. Just you showing up, that's what you're doing, Andy. Yeah. You're showing up. And by that, everything, the process will happen, right? It's the interaction. You showing up, that's what it is, you know? And it makes us show up more. And the identity is, you know, that I can be a Boston College student. I can make the dean's list like I did last semester. And have a 3.9 GPA, which didn't think that was possible for me. But, you know, it just lets me know that, you know, there's people in my corner and we can get it done, you know. I know there was tons of other people with.
Yeah, I love the question, and Andy, your question was super relevant and important, and Dave, your response was like just it. And when you talked about connection, that's what it. You talked about connection. That's what it is. I remember being a freshman at 48. I remember sitting in. It must have been the 3rd class. I just started giggling. I was like, I'm a freshman. And it felt so right. You know, we have a saying in my culture that knowledge is infinite. With its infinite probabilities and possibilities, what do we know? So we show up in the world as perpetual newborns, always endeavoring to learn. And that's how I approach my life. I want to learn, I want to learn, I want to learn. I want to learn traditional, I want to learn non-traditional. I want to learn interactive, I want to learn by observation. So the question is so beautiful. The last couple of weeks I've been traveling on business and just being in those spaces with other subject matter experts. I mean, some of the brilliant people in the field, it just feels so right to just be there learning. And I think that's what we did. We bring, as students, this curiosity, this wide-eyed curiosity. You know, so learning is phenomenal. And I want to say this in closing, that Partakers is everything restorative practices represents. Again, restorative practices have many types of circles. They begin with a talking circle. This is what happens with Partakers. They begin, that talking becomes cathartic, it becomes healing, it becomes therapeutic, it becomes holistic. Then there's what you call a circle of support and accountability. Everything I know about the Partakers program makes us want to hold ourselves accountable in a more realistic way, because we know people are pouring into us and we don't want to let anyone down, ourselves or you all. So Partakers is very, very special. I'm learning just the intersectionality between restorative practices and Partakers. That circle of support and accountability has 4 people in it. We'll be the core member, and it's needs-based. I heard Dave say, what are the needs? What was it? Infinite probability? Yeah. Finite probability. And newsflash, I still haven't taken that class.
One thing that most of the college programs, it's a degree in liberal arts. It's a liberal arts, so you get a little bit of everything. And but the one thing about learning in prison is that we are stripped from so many things when we go in. But once we learn something, they can't take that away. So, yeah. The one thing is, when I'm sitting there in the visiting room trying to ask them, I do not like Socrates, I do not like philosophy. But his wife is a major. No, it's this. I'm like, how do you know this? Like it stays there, it's retained. So it's another belief that once you learn it, it's in there. Nobody can take it away from you. So the Partakers, like I said, your experiences, going to school and everything, you're going to remember, oh, yeah, I did that. Because college is 2 things, reading and writing. Reading and writing. My God. And also a little bit of talking, yeah, most talking. But again, the learning, and then my fiance to be is a teacher too, so she corrects me, Lena. And so it's a lot of learning.
I'm Joe. I was Louis' mentor. I don't go to this church. I go to Great Road Church, which is up the street in Acton. But I want to address head-on a couple of things that may be on the minds of people here who have not yet been mentors, because these things were very real for me, and they held me back for probably a year or so between learning about the existence of the Partakers program and actually getting over the hump and saying, yes, I will do this now. Several of these fears sound irrational when I articulate them, but they're very real. Who here that's not already a mentor has ever been inside a prison? Oh, I guess you have. Okay. Maybe this fear is overblown. I and other people I knew, at some level, we're adults. We can take care of ourselves, and you know, there are people around who can look out for our well-being. But still, you're going inside a prison, and a prison is not a pleasant place. It's a harsh place. There are people there who have conflicting ideas of what you are, why you're there, and how they should look at you, and how much authority they have over you, and so forth. That's true. It's real, but you can overcome that. You can get past that. There are there's an endless list of requirements about what you can wear and what you can't wear, but once you can get past that list, you can get through the process and get into that room where you're connecting with another human being who has different life experiences than you do. Therefore, you are expanding your worldview. You're learning something you didn't know. You are profiting by every part of this exchange. The other thing I want to push back on a little bit is a few people up here have pointed, lifted me up as being some sort of a subject matter expert on everything and so forth. And A, that's not true. B, it doesn't have to be true anyway. Those of you who have not previously been mentors might be thinking, I don't know anything about differential equations or this or that or that. But do you know how to talk to a person? Sure you do. I'm a visitor at this church, and all the people I have talked to here are very engaging, very friendly, very concerned. They're human beings, and you all know how to talk to a human being, make them feel empowered, make them feel valued, listen to their stories, actually listen, and those are skills that maybe some people don't have them. I think all of you do have them. And so if you had zero, everybody does have subject matter expertise in some field, but even if there is no intersection whatsoever between the subject matter expertise that you personally have and the needs of the person who you're mentoring, that doesn't matter, because you being there, sitting in that chair, talking to a human being and making them feel seen and heard and everything else is extremely valuable. So,
I see we're a little past 12:30. Maybe one more question, Larry.
Yeah, I'm wondering, in the view of these gentlemen, whether there are prison policies or rules that might be amended in order to improve the delivery of services under the Partakers program. How much time you got?
Great big question for us to end with, but yeah, thinking about prison policies that might be amended in order to encourage learning and human growth, right? Yeah. What do you think, Sally? We're comfortable living into the questions here, so. Yeah. Does anybody have something to say about that? If you don't, that's.
I have one quick thing that comes to mind.
Jump on in, Aaron.
Just recently, I had was preparing for my parole hearing, and when I was sitting with my partakers, immediately Liz and Dave were like, "Oh, we want to go. We want to support you." Nancy, everybody, "Hey, we want to go and support you." And I thought that was great. I was like, "Oh wow, I'm gonna have support there." You know, I have a very small family. It's just my grandmother, and my cousin, and somebody that I call my brother, but he's a very good friend of mine. And now I had these partakers that wanted to support me. Well, the partakers are not allowed to go to the parole hearings. So I thought that was kind of strange that, we have these people here supporting us, and this is one of the most important areas, re-entry, to be supported in. And that wasn't, I still got the support anyways. They still supported me every bit of the way, but they weren't able to be there. So when you said that, that was one thing that I'm going to look into and try to find out why.
Well, that was a recent rule within a year, and it's a Department of Corrections rule.
Right.
And this relationship is all negotiated between the Department of
Right.
Corrections and Partakers, and they hold all the cards.
Yep.
And we have to be very careful not to push too hard against something that we may not think makes any sense at all,
Right.
because they can end our program.
We don't want that. So.
One of the things that I did for 30-something... Yes, ma'am. One of the things I did for 30-something years was advocate for policy change. And the policy that Aaron is talking about is 103 CMR 485 comes into play, volunteer and volunteer services, and visitation. And it's wrong, because the DOC changed the law, not the DOC, the public, you all, folks that came in just like you to help us, advocated, implemented, passed and implemented in 485 that once you're released from prison, or if you were part of a reentry program, that you can have contact with the men on the inside, or the woman on the inside, for that matter. So as an advocate, that's something that I will be speaking to Senator Jamie Eldridge about, Senator Liz Miranda about, because, again, connections. If you sever that connection, the humanity can be aborted.
If you have more questions, please come up and speak to these gentlemen, speak to Liz. Is there anything else you want to say, Liz? Liz has a clipboard. We really hope this has done enough to just spark a few more people's interests. And we want to take a picture. That's such a good idea. Let me just ask for one more round of applause for Aaron and Luis and Supreme. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us. It's been such an honor to meet you and hear a little of your story. And I really hope this is, like I said, just the beginning of our church's relationship with this amazing program. So how are we going to do this picture? Do you have an idea, Tucker?
Any of the partakers should go forward,
Yeah.
and we'll pull the chairs back so we can get a group.
Oh, great. Okay. Thanks for sticking around, everyone.